Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We're honored to be sitting down with Snap Boogie, the real Snap Boogie. He is the creator of the very first video game dance emote NFT. He's also an entertainer and a top 12 competitor on NBC's America's Got Talent during season 6. Thank you so much, Snap, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. How are you?
Doing great. What's on your mind?
Ah, man, lots of stuff. Never really thought that I would ever have a partnership with a big company like Engine. I'm just like taking everything all in, seeing that like having a great concept, that's all you need in life to have a great business.
How did that partnership come about?
I reached out to them through a friend of mine, and a friend of a friend, and then they were like, "Hey, this guy has a great idea. You should talk to him. He was on America's Got Talent. He's also into blockchain tech and stuff like that." And so they gave me a chance, and I pitched my idea just online, and then Engine was like, "Oh my God, this could be amazing." So I was like, "Word!" And they just reached out to me, and we just kept talking, and then we were building from there.
When did the idea to do an NFT come about? How did you come across the idea for NFTs?
Well, I knew about like crypto kitties and all of this stuff. I also seen a lot of people doing crypto artwork as well and everything. And I was like, oh, these people are making money off of art, but how can I bring my dance in here? And so I just kind of I learned about it, and then I was just like, yeah, I could find a way to finagle this. So I had to like really like figure out some I had to kind of get more in a deeper dive into NFTs so I can understand it a little bit better.
What'd you learn about NFTs during that journey? And then also tell us a little bit about beauty in the streets.
So basically, I learned that an NFT is basically just a code, and it's a unique code that you own if it's in your wallet and everything. And when you have that code, it's kind of just like you can attach anything to it. So I figured to try to attach my dance moves to a code. And if you so that's kind of like my mindset on what an NFT is. And owning cryptocurrency made it that much easier for me to understand that you can own this code, this special code inside of your wallet.
So people listening who maybe don't know much about NFTs are probably like attaching dance to code. Like, what in the world does that mean? Like, what does it mean?
You can't really code a dance move or anything like that because it's not in the real not that's not how the real world works. But you take your dance moves and you just kind of put it in a digital space and attach that digital item like like a video or an animation, or whether it's a drawing of a dance move or something like that. Just whatever that is, that the digital item gets attached to the code, and that's kind of how it works.
You know about crypto before CryptoKitties, or was NFTs your first introduction to the world of cryptocurrency? Like, for instance, when I got into
Well,
cryptocurrency, it was pretty much just like Bitcoin, and maybe Litecoin was around at that point. Litecoin was definitely around at that point in like early 2012. And at that point, Bitcoin was just all about decentralizing money and kind of taking it out of the
yeah,
hands of very powerful people in the banking industry and finance, and putting it into the hands of the people.
that was the same shit I started learning about. One of my roommates, he's like a fucking nerd, and his name was Chad. He's mad cool, like. And he was telling me about decentralization and bringing the power back to the people and all that kind of stuff. And so I was like, oh, what is he talking about? Then I was like, let me think about, let me hear about what he's got going on and everything. And then he told me basically that what's it called? Yeah, like that these and like all the bankers are just kind of like, you know, it's just he just gave me the whole spiel on everything. And then I was just like, I kind of took it on. I did some more research, And then I was like, oh my God, this is cool. I didn't believe him though in the beginning. Um, in the beginning, I was just like, nobody's gonna beat out the government and all this kind of stuff. But now it's starting to look more like Bitcoin is going to be the standard, and the U.S. dollar is about to go away, uh, and all these other fiat government dollars are going to go away because it just doesn't make any sense for me to have a dollar. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. So when you first learned about crypto from your cool nerd friend Chad, what year was that? And what
It was
kind of,
like it was
go ahead.
2017, and I remember it like it was nothing because Bitcoin was at like $600, yo, and then it shot up to 2,000, and I was pissed because I made the decision at $600 that I was gonna get it, but I didn't have any money at the time, you know, and but when it hit 2000, I was able to go and do something called a festival um, out in Canada. I did a busking festival where people come out to tip you, um, what you're worth for your shows and stuff like that. So I did a festival. At the end of the week, I had about like $5,000 in in my in my pocket. So I was just like, all right, let me take $2,000 out of here and throw it into Bitcoin. I'm gonna buy a full Bitcoin, and then the rest of this is gonna go towards my rent and everything. And I did it. I finally did it, and I actually ended up putting more money in Bitcoin than I was supposed to, and so I ended up having like 1.25 Bitcoins and stuff like that. And then late, then the price of Bitcoin, it crashed, right? And I was just like, oh my God, I'm taking this out of here right now. And then my friend was just like, yo, just wait. I'm telling you, just wait. And I was just like, okay. And so I waited, and then out of nowhere, 3 months later, like the price went up back up to its original price, like $2,000. Then out of nowhere, another 2 months later, it just shot up to 20K. And I was just like, oh my God.
That's awesome. When did you first stumble upon the concepts of NFTs, and like, how did you get the idea to kind of, put your dance moves into code? And tell me all about that. And then also tell me about dancing. Like, let's start there actually. Like, what's your
Yeah.
history with dancing?
So I started dancing about like 15 years ago, and like around like 2007, like I started taking it serious. Dance was always in my vibes, like, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I started dancing, and I used to go and sneak into the Red Sox games, and I used to watch I have a lot of history when it comes to dancing. It's not just this story. This is just one part of everything. You know what I'm saying? But this is what like really got me going, you know, especially as a street performer, right? Um, well, I used to go and sneak into all the Red Sox games in Boston. And after there were these guys that were outside playing the buckets, and all the fans loved them and everything. So after all the games, like my first hustle was to go and sneak into the games, Red Sox games, talk to the ball lady, um, the ball girl, like flirt with her and all that kind of stuff so I can get a ball. So she would always give me a ball every day. She knew who I was. And I don't even remember her name, but she would always give me a ball. And then I would take that ball and I would run after the players like after the game because I knew where they would get out. And so I would run after and I would get a signature from them. And then the next day there would be another game, and I would sell that ball to to people at the games, right? Um, and then after the games were over, there were these guys that were playing the drums on this in the street called Yaki Way, and all these people loved them. So I would always go in front of their drums and started dancing. and I would help them get a crowd. They didn't need a crowd. They didn't need me to get a crowd, but I got them bigger crowds, and those people were paying them to be there. Those the audience, they were paying them as street performers. And so I just kind of like was dancing in there, and I got them crowds, and like all these people just was like, "Yo, you're so good at dancing," and I was like 14 years old and stuff like that. And then I just kind of like kept doing it. Then I started like street performing for real after seeing like other street performers around in the city of Boston. And then from there, I realized I could actually make a career out of this, you know? And then I don't know what happened. I ended up making it onto America's Got Talent. And then from America's Got Talent, I just started traveling the world doing festivals and fairs and all of that kind of good stuff, you know?
Yeah. What years were you going to the Red Sox games?
Like it was like '07, '08. Actually, literally the same years when Red Sox started winning, beating out the Yankees and shit. Because I don't know if you know, there was something called the Curse of the Bambino that happened, and that was happening around that time. And the Red Sox haven't won a World Series for 80 years, right? Because like after this one trade happened, the Red Sox traded Babe Ruth just for some money, you know, to the Yankees. Um, and then what's it called? What happened was yeah,
It
that
sucked forevermore
yeah, it's
until 2004.
yeah. Sorry, I got a call and I was just trying to like hang up real quick. So my mind got distracted. But yeah, it really sucked. And then we started winning, so I really felt like I was a part of breaking the curse.
Damn, that's pretty epic. So I want to know more about these early days before we get to America's Got Talent. And what kind of what autographs did you get? What's your favorite autograph you got from a Red Sox player?
I still got some so one time, so yo, funny story was that like I actually got it so close to the Red Sox that one of the players started giving me tickets. His name was Ellis Burks and everything. Like after before every game, I would go like I would be like, and there's another story behind that. But I would have like a ticket at the stands, and I would go to the gate, and they would give me the ticket, and I'd go right in after a certain point because they just knew who I was. I was a super fan for real. um and this was just like for me to like it was helping me stay away from the hood and shit, like to be honest, because I grew up in the ghetto, like in Boston, like you know it was kind of like a crazy lifestyle that I had. Some of the players knew who I was as well, like Pokey Reeves and Pedro Martinez. And sometimes I took Ellis Burks tickets and I would sell them with a nut to another fan for like $30. And then one time I ran after Pedro Martinez, and Pedro Martinez was mad at me because he was like, "Hey man, you're taking our tickets and selling them, and da 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 da. You're not supposed to do that." And I was just like, "What the hell?" But he still gave me an autograph. Um, I got his autograph. I got David Ortiz's autograph. I got Kurt Schilling's. I got everyone's autograph. I got the worst thing that ever happened though was I actually got a baseball bat from Nomar Garcia Parra, which was my favorite player because we had the same birthday at the time, and he was so good. And he was in the dugout and he cracked his bat, and then he put the bat on the top of the I guess the dugout, and I grabbed it real fast. I was able to like take that bat, and that was like a really big souvenir. Like it was a real baseball bat from the MLB. I could have sold that thing for like $9,000 or something. I don't know how much I could have sold it for, but it was one of the best times. But my mom was pissed off at me at one time, so she told me to throw the bat away. But she didn't understand how important that bat was for me. So I was really sad. That was the worst thing that ever happened.
Who was the coolest player that you met?
Coolest, yo, Pokey Reeves. I mean, and Ellis Burks too. They were both cool as shit. Like Pokey Reeves. Am I allowed to swear? My bad. I don't. My bad.
You can
If I
swear if you want, no problem.
Pokey Reeves, he was cool because I knew where he lived, and I went to his house and I knocked on his door, and and you could ask him about me if you ever want to go and talk about this or something, you know, to one of the players or something like that. Like I knew where he lived, and I went to his door. He had somebody else open the door, and they were like, "Who the hell are you?" But after the game, then the next day the game happened, and Pokey Reeves was like, "Yo, why'd you come to my house, bro? You're not supposed to do that shit and everything." And we just kind of had a talk, and I was just like, "Oh, my bad, bro. I didn't know shit. I'm young, like I'm a kid." So because I was able to get around the city on my own, like at 14 and 13 and 12 and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, when I was 13, the guitarist and singer of Blink 182 lived down the street from my friend, and we knocked on his door once, and he like opened it. He was just like looking at us, and we were like looking at him. Like what we were supposed to be doing was actually my friend's mom gave us flyers for her real estate business, and we were supposed to go around to all the houses in the neighborhood and like give them the real estate flyers. But Tom DeLonge from Blink 182's was the only house we actually ended up going to.
That's what's up.
How was
Is
it
there
growing up? Go ahead.
is there more to that story?
No, unfortunately, nothing really else other than like he kind of was just like, "Hi," and then we were like, "Hi." I mean, I'm pretty sure that's all we remember. We are like, "Dope album."
That's dope.
Yeah, I think he was. I think he was eating cereal. I think he was eating like Fruit Loops or something. But he would always drive by, and we were always like hanging out in my friend's neighborhood, and he'd always like drive by. This was like right after they broke too, so this was like 1999 or like
Oh man.
2000 at the
Yo, Blink
latest.
182 was huge too.
Yeah, they
They
were
were
like the biggest band, one of the biggest bands on the planet. They were like NSYNC or Backstreet Boys at that time.
Yeah, they were huge. I remember like, I wasn't a fan of Blink 182 because like, I'm into hip hop and like all the white people, they would always talk about Blink 182 being so cool and stuff. And I was just like, who the fuck are these guys? But it is what it is.
I'm curious, Snap. What was it like growing up in the ghetto in Boston?
Oh man, like some of my old friends, like some of them were like crazy, like they did real bad stuff that I don't want to talk about on here. But there was just like things that happened. Like I remember one time my bike got stolen from me and I got jumped by three kids. And this was my bike. This is the very first time I ever got a bike. My dad bought it for me, and I was so happy to have this bike. And I never forget the kids. They just like they pushed me off the bike. They was like, "Yo, that's my bike. You stole that shit from me," and all that kind of stuff. And I was just like, "What are you talking about? My dad just bought me this bike," you know. And there was like three of them together. I never forget that shit. Um, and they, they beat me up. They spat on me and all that kind of stuff. And that was just one of the incidences. My brother, he got robbed many times. You know, and it was just like it was just kind of like fighting for survival kind of type thing, you know? Like anytime you went outside, you were scared because you didn't know what the hell was about to happen because you knew the dudes down the street. There was just a code basically, and you had to follow it. And sometimes I didn't want to follow the code that they had, you know? Like there was just a lot of stuff happening in the neighborhood. And my mom did a great job in keeping me out of trouble. You know what I'm saying?
One time I was in Tijuana. I grew up in San Diego, and I grew up very well off. I mean, my family's technically like working class, I guess, but I guess when you got like American Express credit lines and you spoil your children, it can be pretty good. And
Yeah.
but as I grew up, I started hanging out more in Tijuana, and that was eye opening in many ways. And I remember one night I was walking home because like I was going to walk like 2 blocks because I was living there at the time, and it was just 2 blocks, but it was like 11
Mhm.
p.m. on a Sunday night. It was real quiet out, and my buddy was trying to go basically like chase girls around at where you go and drink in Tijuana. And I was like, yo, can you like just drop me off on the way in your Uber since like I'm 2 blocks away on the street you need to drive on, like in
Mhm.
the direction you're going? He
Mhm.
said no. And I was like kind of shocked. I was shocked. And so then I started walking home, kind of being like, damn, dude, this guy is like, wow, this guy's so lame. Like,
Yeah.
there's no reason for me to even like hang out with this dude anymore, period. And then I
Mhm.
got robbed at gunpoint just right then and there. And like this really crappy van pulls up and these three people jump out. Like one's this huge, like fat Mexican guy with like a shotgun, and then like a girl was like jumped out and she was wearing a bandana around her face, like COVID style, except this was
Oh,
before
man.
COVID. And she had nunchucks. I was like, nunchucks? And then
Nunchucks.
nunchuck, yeah. And then
That's crazy.
some dude was just like their younger brother or whoever, cousin, was like honking the horn or whatever, being like, I think he was like, "Vamonos, vamonos," like, and I don't know if he was just trying to like make it more hectic or if he was trying to like be a distraction or if he was like, dude, we shouldn't rob this guy. We should probably bail so we don't get in trouble.
Yeah.
At any rate, like, so I gave them like my wallet and then I just walked home and was stoked to be alive.
Wow. That's crazy. Yeah, man. I mean, there are situations in the hood, like, where I'm from, where, like so one time I remember, one week I got my bike fixed. Like, I was walking around, I was really sad, and there's this guy like, "Oh, why are you so sad?" He's just like, "Oh," and I told him like, "Oh, my bike is all messed up. I can't ride it no more." And so he fixed my bike and everything. And he used to hang out on the same corner like every day. He just moved to our neighborhood, right? And then like a week later, there was a big fight that happened at this club across the street from me, and he got shot and he died and everything. And so that really stuck with me because I really loved that guy. I like that dude just did something for me. Like he made me happy. It was like one of the biggest lights in the ghetto, like where I was from, at least. You know?
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah. It was crazy, like just living in that situation. It's just like a lot of friends of mine have passed away because of certain things in the past, like whether it was drug related, violence related, and all that kind of stuff. Like a lot of my friends went to jail. Some people in my life are really in jail. Like right now, I talk to them for really, really, really serious shit.
So then how do you go from this situation? I mean, obviously your mother played a big role in that as you expressed to America's Got Talent.
Nigga, I don't even know. Like, I was just kind of like, bro, this is, I, I mean, I kind of still use my sneaking in tactics from sneaking into the Red Sox games to America's Got Talent
You know
because I
what? You know what?
I
Okay,
actually
let's
snuck
back up a
into.
little bit. Okay, we're talking about America's Got Talent, but tell me how you snuck into the Red Sox games.
There was a gate that I used to that that it was an outside gate, but once you were inside of that gate, you were in and everything because they had this section for people outside and everything. So there was this one place where I could slide through and everything. And I slid through it all the time, all the time. And then there were other times when I made a distraction with my friends so I can get inside of the game, and I did it many times and everything. And I think the security guards knew what we were up to. So sometimes I think they just let us in because they knew who we were, kind of type thing. As long as we didn't make a fuss and just like hung out in the standing zone. But I never listened. I went straight to the dugout or to the ball lady. you know? So, and then I've gotten kicked out of the games a few times when I was growing up because they started catching on to what I was doing and everything. But there were other places where I could sneak into the games. But there was that one spot that was my special spot that I would always go to. That was my go-to, you know?
Sneaking in to America's Got Talent. How did that happen?
Yo, that's another story, man. But basically, long story short, they called me. They told me that they might need me. Then uh never got a call back. So I took a bus all the way to New York and I pretended like I was supposed to be there. And then but my name wasn't on the list. But then they were like, "Well, since your act is so simple, you could just kind of be a fill-in." Um and then one person's act was so they had a big setup, like it took them like 20 minutes to set up their act, right? So they were just like, all right, come on up, somebody they're gonna take about 20 minutes to do their act, so why don't you go on now and everything. And I was just like, really? And they were like, yeah. And so they brought me upstairs and Nick Cannon was right there. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me right now? Nick Cannon is right here in my face. Um, and then I saw the stage and I was like, oh, this is the actual real deal because the other the other auditions aren't the real deal. They're just for you to meet the producers and do your thing. Um, but this audition was the real deal. I was actually on TV and I went in, did my thing, got a standing ovation from the crowd, and then all three S's, and from there I just went on.
Tell me about like the dance you did on America's Got Talent and where you learned to dance. Who are your like
Oh, where I learned
inspirations?
that. I learned to dance in Boston. I joined this dance crew called the Floorlords, which I'm still in. It's a really, really high quality b-boy dance crew. We're the second longest running dance crew, hip hop dance crew in the world, and everything. And you know, the Floor Lords. A lot of people in the Floor Lords have taught me, but there was one guy in particular that really, really stuck out to me, and his name is Heat Rock One because he was a popper, and that's what I do, like the robots. That's like that's popping, basically. The mainstream way of calling our dance, this is the robot, kind of type thing. Um, yeah, there was a lot of inspirations. There were b-boys in the dance community. Chris Brown was my first inspiration, and Michael Jackson, and then I thought I was better than them. So I kept, I mean, in all reality, as a dancer, yeah, I could, now I'm better than them, but back then I wasn't. Maybe not Michael Jackson, because Michael Jackson's on a different like level. You know what I'm saying? He's just got style on top of style on top of style. But that was my inspiration. James Brown, you know, just like my whole community, they were inspirations to me pretty much. The whole b-boy community, the whole dance community, but there were some dancers who really stuck out, like K Mel, people who grew up in the same neighborhoods as me, um, like K Mel. K Mel was a blood. He was a big time dancer, and he's the Michael Jordan of breakdancing. There was also dancers like Kid David. He's cool. I like his style. Machine. There was just a lot of dancers all over the United States that I've been learning that I learned about, and just they I don't know how to explain it. But what was the other question that you asked? You asked one other question before that. It had something to do in regard to with America's Got Talent, I think.
Tell me about the dance you did on America's Got Talent.
Oh, the dance I did on America's Got Talent. I don't know what to say about that, to be honest. I just kind of went out there and freestyled, but I had a set song that I always brought with me everywhere I went. You know, so yeah, I did a little freestyle, went on stage, freestyle, danced, and then I wowed the judges, and that was it.
What happens after that moment that the audience sees on television? And what happened after the whole America's Got Talent experience?
uh, I was able to get some gigs, get some shows and stuff like that. Like I was doing some things, but then I ended up like I didn't really know what I was doing in the past. I've grown a lot now. Like I didn't understand what intellectual property was. I didn't understand any of that stuff. I got too famous too fast. So I actually was like dancing, but I was just trying to get girls at the time after the show. So I actually didn't do I didn't live up to my potential, to be honest. And then I started like getting myself together, and I started doing NBA halftime shows, college halftime shows, NACA, um, just all these things. Like years later, I got my act together like when I was around 24, 23, and everything. And I still did some gigs. I did some festivals out of out of the country, but I was I was trying to learn how to like make money this whole time, you know? So, yeah.
And then crypto comes along, and then is that when you really started making money and putting things together?
Well, I started making money like at around like 23, 22 or something like that. And then I started listening to other folks about money, and I saw that they had money. I was around that energy and those people. So I ended up but yeah, when I got into the crypto game, that's when I really started like learning and understanding. But I wasn't making a lot of money until I don't have a lot still yet. I'm not at that point where I'm like a millionaire or multimillionaire. But I wasn't making a lot of money until this year, and specifically because of cryptocurrency. Um, but I was always buying cryptocurrencies, and I would do a lot of shows. Um, that would be my main money, and it was pretty good money for somebody where I came from that didn't understand what intellectual property is and business and all that kind of stuff. So I just stuck with that, you know, and that was kind of cool for me.
What do the people need to know about your NFT?
My NFT is the very first video dance emote NFT for the gaming space in the gaming industry. I partnered with Engine, and this NFT is actually gonna help people. It's gonna help like the dance community. A lot of people where I'm from, um, they're gonna it's gonna help me like be able to kind of like put money towards my business and all that kind of stuff where I can, because I'm building a platform for dancers and entertainers all over the world. So they can get into the blockchain space too, because I think this is an amazing space. Um, I think it's probably been the best space that I've ever been into in my whole entire life. Um, and I just want to kind of grow with the community and and show people that I'm about that life, decentralization, Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, and all that stuff. Like that means a lot to me now. I started learning about owning your own data and privacy and all that kind of stuff. Like, you know, so yeah, man, that this is what this NFT is basically about.
Tell me about the platform.
The platform is Beauty in the Streets. That's my company. Uh, and basically, what we're going to be doing is we're going to help dancers create emote NFTs for video game companies. Um, what I thought of was Fortnite when I came up with this concept. And Fortnite, like basically, I just wanted to turn those same dance moves from like Fortnite into NFTs, so people can own their own dance moves, because Fortnite has stolen a lot of dance moves from a lot of from people and never gave credit where credit was due, and people didn't make any money. But now with blockchain tech, there might be laws that come into place where dancers can actually get paid off of their own intellectual property and stuff like that. You know,
Tell me more about the challenges dancers face when it comes to having their moves stolen.
I mean, the dancers, they don't have like the right to intellectual property right now, because they're saying you can't stop people from moving, you know, which is fine. But now these video game companies are taking advantage of that, you know, and I think that needs to be addressed. Like, you don't have to, you maybe you don't have to copyright the windmill and everything, but something like the floss that was stolen from the backpack kid. Um, excuse me. Oh man, I've been working a lot. Something like the floss that it's been stolen from someone like the backpack kid. I don't know if it was stolen yet, but I know the Millie Rock was stolen. If they put it like on the blockchain, um, they'd be able to like just it's there in history saying that, like, hey, he's the first person to to do this dance, because he put it on the blockchain, kind of type thing. And that's something I want dancers to get to. But dancers have like lots of challenges, because dancers always have like the shortest end of the stick when it comes to the industry. And I see a lot of dancers right now to this day, they're some of my heroes, they're not living the lives that they're supposed to. They live in the hood. They live in a place where they're like struggling to survive, and they're just like, they're kind of like day by day livers. They're not like thinking about the future or anything like that, which sucks, because you sometimes see them in this big platform, and then the next day, you're asking, they're talking about how, you know how they need money to do this and need money to do that and get an apartment and stuff like that. you know
What do you see as the future of NFTs?
hmm. I see a huge future. I see people, uh like real estate, actual real estate, like selling a house, because that house is attached to a code and everything. That's the key to your house, where you can use that NFT to open your door to with some high tech stuff. It's just in my mind. That's what I think. I think futuristically in that sense. Cars as well, unique cars, uh, real cars. I see real world use cases with NFTs, and um, I also see like not so real world. I mean, I see a lot of new. Just, I don't know, the potential there is just like the sky's the limit, man. It's not even the limit, and there's no limit. It's gonna be crazy, I'd say.
Tell me about like video games and dance moves and NFTs and how all this stuff comes together in your mind to like protect dancers.
Having your dance move in a video game, like I don't know. I think
That just
video
sounds cool, right? To be able to be like, yeah, this
yeah,
is, and be able to prove that, like, yeah, this is my dance move that they've got in this game. And like,
yeah, yeah, exactly. It's like if you had like your yeah, and if you had your dance move in a game, like that's dope. And like NFTing that, like that's like next level. Like I don't know. It's just like we're one step closer to more like owning your own assets and like ah man, that's crazy, man. I can't even explain all that stuff that you're even asking. I just like because I can go on a conversation all day about it. I see the industry. We all know that we're going to the metaverse, right? Um, and just like seeing the I guess the creativity that's about to unfold because of the metaverse. That's what I'm excited about. You know, seeing how people are going to facilitate with that all these things around them, like with like I guess I just I have so many visions in my mind right now. I can't even like spill it out because some of these visions in my mind are I want to keep to myself. That way, I'm the first to do it.
any other comments?
Nah, that's about it.
Where can people find you?
I have the Twitter is at Snap Boogie. I have my Instagram, which is the real Snap Boogie. My website, oh yeah, my website is beautyinthestreets.com. And then yeah, that's pretty much it. Um, you know, and I'm pretty accessible now, but I really have a feeling that I'm not going to be super accessible, you know.
Why is that?
Just the partnership with Engine. I've been talking to like really famous people right now, and they really love my concept, and they want to be a part of Beauty in the Streets. You know.
Awesome. We've been joined. We've been joined today by Snap Boogie. Snap Boogie is the head of Beauty in the Streets. He's also a creator of the first video game Dance Emote NFT, and he was a top 12 competitor on NBC's America Got Talent after sneaking in. Thank you so much for joining us today, Snap Boogie.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it, Justin, and never hesitate to reach out and bang, let's get it in. You know what I'm saying?
Thanks everyone for listening.